Hello and how you doing, and welcome back to Two Jagoffs. I am your host, Austin Cairns, joined here with
Lucas Kuhns.
And welcome back to Two Jagoffs, and welcome to another jam-packed episode. We have a lot to cover today, ladies and gentlemen. So much has gone on in the sports world. Baseball is officially back. Some NFL signings are sending some shockwaves, and we officially have the Final Four for both the men's and women's college basketball March Madness games. First and foremost, Lucas, my man, my friend, welcome. You weren't on at all last week. How's everything going with you today?
It's going good. That's a lot of interviews coming out. A lot of new guests coming on.
Lots of new guests, lots of new interviews. Last week we had Ask Austin Anything, which did amazing. Thank you all so much again for sending in questions. And then we also had a very special guest this past Sunday. My man Robbie Ince-Mikowski joined the podcast, and he had a couple of words to say about you, Lucas. Any response to that?
Don't worry, Robbie. You'll get what's coming.
Well, Robbie is going to be hopefully coming back on the podcast very soon. We absolutely enjoyed his company here, and you're going to be invited to that episode as well. But not only is Robbie coming back to the podcast, Lucas, we have another very special guest coming back to the podcast today. He is the other Jagoff, a part of the Two Jagoffs team. He is also my birth giver. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my dad. Dad, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you so much for coming on. Lots of stuff going on in the sports world. Is there anything intriguing or interesting or that's standing out to you at all right now?
Well, I just want to be honest. I got like about 10 minutes left of the interview that you just mentioned.
Okay.
And he didn't come after me. He come after you.
Does that just mean
I just might think that's just you.
I mean, I think
maybe you're giving that energy.
I think it just means I'm the bigger name around here.
I just think you're giving that energy.
I think I just show up more.
Well, you know.
Wow, the debates are already starting.
Some of us work, you know. Sorry.
See, I was pretty lonely last week. I'm kind of glad you guys are back now. You're adding more some debates. Let it between you two. I'll just sit back and enjoy this.
I'm still waiting on Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
No, we don't need Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
That is something we were waiting on. We're gonna get
still
to that.
waiting.
Still waiting.
But I did see the picture of DK Metcalf with him throwing the ball. Is that a sign, Lucas?
Russell Wilson threw the ball to DK as well, and then he left.
They kind of shunned him out of Pittsburgh.
Well,
that's a different topic.
It is a different topic. Let's save that actually because we're going to get into that once we talk about the NFL. But I actually want to start off with something we don't really talk about as much here on the podcast, and that's some baseball. The baseball season is officially here, which means it's another year of sadness to watch the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ladies and gentlemen, they are currently 2-5 on the season. They did get a win today against the Tampa Bay Rays, breaking their 3-game losing streak. Their next game is a home opener tomorrow against the New York Yankees, who has been absolutely dominant. Dad, I'm going to go to you on this one first. You've seen Pirates at the tippiest of top and the lowest of lows. What's your opinion on this current Pittsburgh Pirates?
I just ordered 22 torpedo bats. Hopefully they'll be in for a home opener.
We'll get to that.
What do you guys think of that?
I mean,
that's what I did for the Pirates.
Well, it's greatly appreciated.
I love the Pirates. I do. All jokes aside, I love the Pirates. I'm hoping for an opening day victory against the Yankees. I work with a couple Yankees fans. I just think they're just bandwagoners. But, I don't know, the bullpen, that's the trouble for the Pirates right now. That was always their stronghold. They just sent Bednar down to the minors, thank God, because he gave up 19 runs in 22 innings, which is god-awful. So, we need a better bullpen. That's all I can say. I'd like to see Kutch at least take one more shot at a playoff run before he retires.
Lucas?
This team's been terrible. I mean, we lost, 3 games to the Marlins?
3 games.
And we're only able to win one against, debatably, one of the worst teams in the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay, I mean, we got the win, but it wasn't pretty per se. It wasn't anything outstanding to me. Our infield on defense is just, we keep dropping stuff.
Who's the guy at first base? Where'd he come from?
Isn't that
Rodriguez?
Rodriguez?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where'd he come from?
He was our catcher. He was like a catcher last year.
Yeah, well, maybe he should stick catching. He's not a real good first baseman.
Triolo got moved to second base, and he keeps dropping stuff too. So it's been rough. I don't know what we need, but we need something to turn this team around and hopefully get some more wins.
Says the guy wearing a pirate hat.
Yeah, which, by the way, that's a very nice Pirate hat. Is that the new one you were talking about?
That
was the new one you were talking about a couple weeks ago.
They went old school with the rope across the bill.
I actually bought this before we decided to suck. So.
Well, then did you buy it like 5 years ago?
No, I bought it I bought it before. I bought it before we lost 3 games to the Marlins.
Let's say that you bought it 1 when you were 1.
I wish.
Say, did you see them in the playoffs?
No, I wasn't watching baseball whenever they were in the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
I was. I remember those days.
No, he might not have been born for them one-game playoffs.
Are you talking about McCutcheon and Walker and them?
Yeah.
I was there for that.
I'm talking about him.
Oh, well, yeah. I was there for like Gregory Polanco and Starling Marte.
I was there for all those players.
Yeah, but did
Were
you
you
see
there
the
for the
playoffs?
playoff runs?
The playoff runs he's talking about.
What
Yeah.
years were the playoff runs?
Well, that's what we're going to find out.
Okay, well, while you're pulling that up, I'm just going to say this. Mismanaged bullpen is the biggest weakness right now for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Look, when you have a bunch of young, talented guys on your team, this team is full of players that have unlimited potential. We talk about the Paul Skeens of the world, who's a generational pitcher. We talk about the Key Brian Hayes, the O'Neal Cruzes, the Brian Reynolds. These are players that you look at, and there is just so much untapped and unlimited potential with them, but it has not been showcased at all due to the pitiful performances from the Pirates time and time again. Like, I was very excited to see this pitching rotation. Like, Paul Skeens obviously is a great player. Jared Jones, I mean, he's a little bit up there in age. He's coming back from an injury as well. But being able to get that veteran experience in the mix as well is definitely nice to spice things up. I'm just very disgusted by the way the team is being organized right now. This is the most unorganized baseball team probably in the MLB. Now, we can cut them some slack because they're in a pretty bad division. The Cardinals aren't what they once were. The Brewers, they're kind of up and down right now. So the Pirates have a shot at winning some more games later on this year. But the funny thing that I kind of see is usually the Pirates start off pretty good, and then it slowly fizzles out, and then by the time August and September comes, they're pretty much bottom of the barrel. This year, on the other hand, they're starting off where they left off last year. Maybe that means they can rise up to the top. We'll just have to wait and see. But going up against the Yankees for your home opener after looking like awful against the Rays and Marlins, it's a major concern for me, boys. It's a very major concern.
Who's their closer? Do they have one?
That's the problem. They've been rotating.
Yeah, that's a problem right there. I mean, you got to close games out. They're getting 4-0 leads. They're giving up runs. I mean, the bullpen is why they're losing.
Yes.
Isn't Holderman
Is it Holderman still? I know he was last year.
I mean, he's still there. I just don't know if we've been using him as a closer or like a bridge.
I know when I watched the last Marlins game and the first Rays game of the series, they were two different closers.
They had Bednar's and they sent him down. So
Do we still have Chapman?
I think we do. Oh my! That's the thing with the Pirates. They're so unorganized right now. We can't even name all the players because of how unorganized they are.
Yeah, that one starter I was texting you about the other day that I had some choice words for.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have an interesting matchup against the Yankees, and I feel like this is a good transition to actually talk about the New York Yankees for a sec. They've been on an absolute dominant roll, and a lot of people are saying it's because of one called the Torpedo Bats, which has been recently introduced this year. And, Dad, you made a joke about it earlier, but I want to get your serious opinion on this. Do you believe the Torpedo Bats is affecting the New York Yankees' winning success, or do you believe this is being blown out of proportion?
Being blown out of proportion. They hate them because they're hitting the ball. It's a legal bat, period. I watched a special on it like 2 days ago. I think it was on 60 Minutes or something.
Yes, I did too.
It's a legal bat. It still comes down to hand and eye coordination. You still have to hit the ball. It's just hitting it in the sweet spot. Just like in golf, there's a sweet spot on the club. They're hitting the sweet spot. They brought that bat down to hit that sweet spot. They still have to make contact with that ball. So yes, maybe the bat is helping. Well, guess what? This guy will make a bat for any team. If you watch the thing like I did, he'll make a bat for any team. The Yankees just got him. Too bad for the rest of you.
Exactly, and this is a great point I wanted to bring up too. I was telling Lucas this on the phone earlier. If there was any other team outside of maybe the Dodgers in baseball using these torpedo bats, I don't believe it would have made as headlines as much it is right now. I believe just because it's the New York Yankees and they're one of the most popular franchises, in my opinion, the best sports franchise across all four major sports in terms of its history, if it wasn't the Yankees that was introducing the bats, if it was some other team like the Rockies or the Cardinals or the Marlins or even the Mariners, I don't think it would have made as big of a headlines just because those franchises aren't as notable as one being the New York Yankees. The other thing that I want to mention, they're not corked. The bats aren't corked at all, so it's the exact same bat. It's just completely designed differently. Just because the design is differently doesn't mean it's affecting the way the game's being played. Aaron Judge wasn't even using a torpedo bat this past weekend and still hit 6 home runs. Chisholm, who's also on his team, was using a torpedo bat, only hit 2. So is that really affecting the difference? I don't believe so.
Well, a couple things real quick.
Yeah.
Chapman is a Red Sox. I looked that up.
I said
okay.
Chisholm.
No, I'm saying Chapman.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Back to him.
Sorry.
We're talking these torpedo bats. Go back to this. Part of that special was there was another baseball player. I believe it was with the Red Sox, but I could be wrong on what team it was. He's 0 for 12 with this torpedo bat. So it's not the bat. The bat doesn't make you better. Let's face reality. I'm going to say it, and I know you don't want to hear this. They're the Chiefs of the MLB. Nobody wants them to win. They're tired of the Yankees. Everybody was tired of the Chiefs. So it's easy to hate on a great organization. That's what it boils down to.
So pretty much what I said.
They were smart enough to get the bats. Good for them.
Lucas, thoughts, feelings?
I mean, it's pretty simple. It's not cheating, so I don't even know why it's being discussed. I mean, I told you on the phone, any team could have done it. Just because they're the first ones to figure it out doesn't mean that we should call them cheaters.
So let me ask you this. If I honestly bought 22 bats, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, and they were delivered April 4th for the Pirates home opener at PNC Park, are we hitting 8 to 10 home runs in that game? No.
I don't think we're even...
End of the story right there. That's it.
I don't even think we're hitting 8 to 10 home runs, even if the bats were modified in our favor. That's how bad the Pirates are.
You can cork them, torpedo them.
It doesn't matter what you do.
It's...
But yeah, no, the torpedo bats, I believe this is a miscellaneous headline. I mean, all three of us are pretty much in agreement here on it. But it's definitely something that's taken the sport by storm. And in all honesty, I'm all for it. It's bringing traction to Major League Baseball, which is something that we haven't seen in a long time. And it's over the years, it feels like baseball is slowly growing more and more popular again. I mean, with the introduction of the pitch clock last season, now going into the torpedo bat era and going into different, like, what's next? Are we going to see different gloves? Are we going to see different pitching methods? There's a lot of different stuff that's still being explored within baseball. And for the fact that this sport's been around for God knows how long, and there's still being unique transitions into it, I'm all for it. I think it makes the sport better.
What's it called? You guys know?
What's called?
Baseball. America's favorite pastime. Never heard that phrase?
I have heard that phrase. I didn't know that's what you were
referring to. It's the most popular sport in American history.
I mean, not right now, but of all time.
I mean, listen, you just got people who watch football for the violence of it. Baseball, I'm all in on baseball.
Well, not just that. The world, I feel like everybody is more fast-paced now, so that they would rather watch basketball or hockey, which is a little more fast-paced, than a baseball, which takes a little... That's the entire reason why the pitch clock was introduced, because games were taking hours upon hours.
And that's what they had to do. They had to shrink the game. They shrunk the game from 4 hours to 3 hours or whatever it is now.
And I think it made it better. I really do.
It made it better. But at the end of the day, I went to the 4-hour games. I've watched the 4-hour games in my backyard. I've listened to the 4-hour games. I just love baseball. I love playing baseball. I love coaching baseball. I love watching you play baseball. I love watching baseball. I just love baseball, personally.
Baseball is amazing. Well, not only is the Pirates season opener going to be this Friday, we also have the Women's March Madness Final Four games coming up this Friday. We also have March Madness coming up this Saturday. In terms of the men, I want to get your guys... I know you guys don't really keep up with basketball as much, but I do want to get your guys' opinions on March Madness so far this year. A lot of people are claiming that this is the worst March Madness of all time due to the fact that there's no Cinderella teams or no upsets later in the rounds. It's mostly number one seeds.
It's all number one. It's all number one in the finals.
Well, not for the women's. UConn's number 2.
Okay, I thought we were talking men's.
We're talking both. Mostly men, though, here. We'll just stick with men mostly, but I also wanted to give the women some credit as well. Dad, what's your opinions on the March Madness bracket this year?
First off, shout out to South Fayette High School, my alma mater, the girls basketball team, state title.
Okay.
Lucas wasn't going to say it, so I'll give the shout out.
You never give your school credit.
I know, you don't. What's wrong with you? You should just burn all your South Fayette stuff.
Okay.
All right, so in the matchups, are we on the men's first?
Yeah, let's do men's first. Why not?
We have Florida versus Auburn, Houston versus Duke. I got Houston...
we're not there yet. We're doing an overall recap. I apologize. I have all that stuff ready to go. I'm asking what's your opinions on the bracket so far right now, like from what you've seen, games that's already been played. We're not through the games.
The only thing that I wish I'd have seen was Robert Morris upset.
They almost did.
I bet a guy at work for a pop that they were going to lose by 30. Well, he didn't want to bet, so we bet a pop. He gave me 30 in Robert Morris. They lost by 7 or 8.
Wow.
I'll take 30 all day.
That's incredible.
Robert Morris was not a bad college. They have a good basketball team. They're going to be depleted after this year. You may never see them in the thing for another 5 to 10 years, but...
Well, I mean, they barely beat out Cleveland State. Let's not forget
listen, let's face it. At the end of the day, when people are upset that the number one seeds are are still in it, that just means whoever did the brackets this year, as far as on the college end, they got it right. They got it right. And the best teams usually win. In sports, that's what happens. The best team usually wins. Unless the game's fixed or they were cheated, and that just didn't happen. The best teams, as the Final Four, they're all number one seeds. So, in my opinion, whoever made the bracketology, they nailed it. I thought it was a great tournament for that alone.
Lucas, and I know you don't really keep up with college basketball as much, but is there any thoughts or opinions you have on March Madness so far this year? Anything you've possibly seen just on social media?
All I know is that there's a lot of upsets real quick. A lot of my classmates complained about it. You cried about it. So.
I didn't cry.
He cried.
He cried.
Well, Clemson, but yeah.
Exactly. You cried.
Well, this ain't football. Why would you pick Clemson?
Huh?
This ain't football. Why would you pick Clemson?
What do you mean why don't pick Clemson? They were one of the more underrated teams coming into the year.
Yeah, okay. How'd that work out?
Led the ACC at 3-point percentage. But that's okay. That's besides the point. So, coming from the one who actually did a March Madness bracket this year, I will say I do have 3 out of the 4 teams in the Final Four right now for the men. Hold on. I have 4 papers right here. I have 3 out of the 4 teams in the Final Four right now, and I will say this. Out of all the teams that are here, and Dad, you already mentioned it, so we'll just go into it. It's Auburn versus Florida and Duke versus Houston. This is a big matchup for both of them.
Wait, how many polls you got there? It looks like you got 7 or 8, doesn't it?
No, I have my...
Lucas, look at that. He got like 9 brackets.
I got these.
This kid got 9 brackets, and he's bragging about having 3 of the 4. What's the other brackets look like?
This is my men's.
They're all losers.
This is my women's, and this is the actual men's and actual women's.
Right.
I came prepared.
Fact check him, Lucas, please.
It says actual bracket.
Please fact check him. He
And
got
guess
9
what?
polls here.
No, I don't. Go on the social media page. Lucas, actually, you forgot, but I posted.
You didn't send it to me.
Yeah, how could he forget when you didn't send it to him?
The brackets are on Instagram and TikTok, so they're out there for the viewers to see. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that 3 out of the 4 of my Final Four teams are in there. I had Auburn, Florida, Duke. I unfortunately had Clemson as my 4th because I was trying to go for an upset, but obviously that screwed me over. So it's Houston this year. So, Dad, you were going into the games. Let's get your predictions.
Who do you got winning it? Let's hear your final 2.
My final 2 is Florida and Duke, and I got Florida with the win. Go Gators. I got the Gators all the way.
I think Duke's going to win.
That's not a
you got
bad pick.
Duke. Who else you got, though? Out of Florida and Auburn.
I'll go with Auburn just to disagree with you.
Really?
Yeah. I watched a little bit of the Auburn game. I watched the Florida game. I love watching March Madness. So I'll turn it on. I don't care who wins, but I just turn it on and I love watching it because it's interesting. The whole tournament's interesting. One of the most fascinating playoff brackets. It's in all sports, by the way. But anyways, way better than college football. That was just a train wreck.
Yes,
From a
thank
disaster. You. But anyways, and I love watching the upsets too. Like I wanted Rob Morris to win so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I did watch a little bit of Auburn. Never watched them all season. I was impressed the second half. They just controlled that game. They won that game. Florida, dominant. Very dominant. Houston, dominant. Almost reminds me of back when they had Matumbo Bull. He played on Houston.
Yep.
Yeah, they won a national title, I believe, back when he played. They were pretty dominant. I don't think Duke stands a chance. Out of them 4 teams, I think they're the team that would lose to the other 2.
Who, Auburn?
Yes. Duke. I think if Duke made it against either Auburn or Florida, I believe Auburn or Florida's winning it. That's who I believe is winning this bracket. But I'm going to pick Florida as well, just from what I've seen. They're dominant. I'm going to go with Florida.
They really are, and the reason why...
I'm going to pick Houston in the finals. My final is going to be Florida and Houston, and Florida to win the national title.
Well, let's not forget this either. Florida is the team that knocked off the reigning back-to-back national champions, UConn, which in my opinion right now is the best sports dynasty that we have. It's actually the only sports dynasty that we have across major sports and collegiate sports, that being all led by head coach Dan Hurley, who I'm a massive fan of. I've talked about him several times on the podcast. Not only did Florida do that, they also defeated a Maryland team that was pretty underrated, a Texas Tech team that was red hot after beating John Colanarpi, and Arkansas, which was a massive win for him, and now they're in the Final Four, which is something I predicted heavily from the beginning of the year because I've always been a Gators fan. I love their perimeter shooting. I love everything about this team, but we can't ignore Auburn either. They beat the 2 best defensive players. I mean, two best defensive teams in March Madness, that being Michigan and Michigan State. We all know who Tom Izzo is.
They dominated Michigan State.
They did.
That second half was incredible.
It was. And Tom Izzo is one of the best college head coaches that's active right now. I love me some Tom Izzo. But Auburn absolutely exposed them. Not to mention Michigan, a team that shouldn't have been there. A lot of people believe Texas A&M should have moved on. they defeated Michigan in dominant fashion as well. And let's not forget their first 2 wins against Alabama State and Creighton. So Auburn has the receipts this year. Florida has the receipts this year. When you look at the other side of the bracket, Houston barely got wins. They barely beat Tennessee. They barely beat Purdue. Don't let the scores fool you. This is a team that, in my opinion, out of the 4 of them, is the weakest. And Duke, they have the future number 1 pick on their team, Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is an All-American player, former McDonald's All-Pro. He's going to be in the NBA sooner than
Didn't
later.
impress me in that game me and you watched, though.
Really?
Did not impress me. You told me to watch him. I watched him. I was not impressed. Let's go back to Hurley real quick.
Yes.
How dare they start criticizing a 2-time national champ like they did? How dare they? They threw a camera in his face. The guy's all about raw emotions. He said a couple things, and then they want to blast him for it. You want to talk about bullcrap? That's bullcrap at its finest, because you know emotions are high. You know he wanted a three-peat. It's no different than them interviewing Patrick Mahomes afterwards. I'm sure he had some choice words too, because they were going for a three-peat. It's just unfair because he's a great coach. He took a lot of slack when he played college ball, which you may not remember. His brother played for Duke, was a phenomenal point guard. They loved him, Bobby Hurley. Remember that name?
I do remember that name.
So when he played, and I believe he may have played for Maryland or somebody, I could be wrong on where he played, but they booed him and said, they were chanting, "You're not Bobby, you're not Bobby." They tortured the dude.
That's crazy.
They tortured him when he was in his playing career, and he wasn't a bad basketball player. The Hurley family was a good basketball player. Where I'm going with this is, though, it's just sickening that, once again, here we go, and I know the reporters have to do that because that's what you're getting, the field you're getting into, but sometimes don't go after a guy right after a loss like that. Like, interview him, but don't bash the guy. Don't go right to social media and start bashing him.
See, I'm never going to bash Dan Hurley because the respect that he gained from me was the minute he turned down that contract from the LA Lakers. They were willing to give him a 4 to 5 year contract worth over $80 million to be the Lakers' next head coach. He turned that down and took a significant pay cut just to return to UConn, to be back on the recruiting trail, try and scout for some players in the transfer portal, make some NIL deals, and go for another run this year in March Madness. He gained a lot of respect for that. That is absolutely admirable for Dan Hurley to turn down millions upon millions of dollars to work with LeBron James in the city of Los Angeles for the Lakers just to go back to UConn. You got to give the man credit where credit is due.
Do you know why the players go to UConn?
This is the best program in college basketball.
Because he's passionate, he's a little bit crazy.
Oh, he's very crazy.
And that's what I would want if I was a player.
He's a nutcase, but we love him for it.
That's what I would want. I know my coach, if somebody hits me at an elbow, he's coming across the court probably smacking the crap out of somebody. That's the guy I want backing me up. I want him.
Absolutely.
Yes, I want him on my team.
Absolutely. No, Dan Hurley is incredible. And then just moving over to the right side of the bracket real quick, too. I mean, we look at Duke. I mean, they've been dominant all along. They beat Mount St. Mary's, Baylor, Arizona, and Alabama, which, by the way, Alabama nearly beat by BYU and nearly beat RMU. They got really lucky in this tournament. I want to give some credit to BYU real quick. Head coach Kevin Young. I made a bold prediction on Facebook. I don't know if many people saw it or not, saying that BYU will go far. Kevin Young is an incredible head coach. And a lot of people didn't believe me. This was his first year coaching BYU. BYU's not typically a basketball school. And he went in there, beat VCU, upset Wisconsin, and nearly beat Alabama. I just want to give credit where credit is due real quick to BYU. And then in Houston's case, they defeated Tennessee, Purdue, Gonzaga, and of course SIU Edwardsville, which, by the way, oh my goodness, they absolutely obliterated them in that game. I think they won by 45, if I'm not mistaken. That was the biggest gap in March Madness over the last 5 years. So Houston is dominant, but out of the 4, I just see them as the weakest. So again, my predictions, Dad, I know you said Florida and Houston is yours, with Florida getting a win, right?
Correct.
I got Florida defeating Duke. You got Duke. Who do you got Duke beating? You said Auburn? Auburn? Okay.
You know who I don't believe deserves any credit?
Who?
Pitt's head coach.
Jeff Cable.
Yes.
Why?
When was the last time they made it to the tournament? 22, 21?
22.
They're dormant for the last 3 years.
2
years.
Well, we really
that
can't...
organization, that was one of the biggest flops in Pitt history.
I fully disagree. I mean, you can't expect to go back to the big leagues after you lose both Bub Carrington and Blake Heinsohn to the NBA, and then this past year you lose 3 out of your 5 starting players in the rotation. They were relying on guys like Zach Austin most of the season, Dad. I mean, you got to give Capel some slack there. They're between the injuries and losing.
Fire Capel.
No.
I'm starting a hashtag.
No. Clearly you didn't listen to Ask Austin anything, because
I did, and I disagreed with him in my kitchen.
Oh my God. He's the one coach in Pittsburgh that I will defend his job. Narduzzi, I'm 50-50 with. Sullivan and Tomlin get out of town. The Pirates clean house. Keep Capel, though.
Let's get rid of Shelton. You want to get rid of Mike Sullivan? You
Yes.
want to get rid of Tomlin?
I want to get rid of both of them.
But your boy stays.
Who? Capel?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
What about Narduzzi?
Narduzzi can stay for one more year. If he doesn't get more than 8 wins, he's gone.
You think you're getting 8 wins this year?
If we don't get 8 wins, he's going to be gone.
It's not the question. This ain't Jeopardy. You don't answer with a question. You give me the answer. I said, do you think they're getting more than 8 wins this year?
No, I don't.
Okay. So then you're putting Narduzzi on the fire train too. Why not just get rid of them all? Why keep Capel? Get rid of them all.
Capel
Get
changed
this
the
big
culture.
old imaginary train, put them all on there and say,
Listen, Dad, I'm sorry, this isn't the Big East days anymore. Capel completely changed the culture for Pitt basketball. Pitt basketball was depressing to watch before he came along.
when have they won an ACC title?
They haven't. But Capel has gotten them closer than any other head coach has.
But Narduzzi has won one, and
Okay,
you're getting
that's
rid
football.
of him. And he got the ACC
Okay,
title.
let's not act like he didn't have Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison.
Oh, gosh. Kenny Pickett, where's he at? Cleveland.
He isn't Cleveland. All right, with that being said, though, I wanted to give the ladies some credit as well. Let's talk about the women's March Madness bracket for a second.
Yeah, let's do it.
Here, too. My original Final Four, if you didn't see on social media, was LSU, UConn, Texas, and South Carolina. Again, I got 3 out of the 4. I was so mad. UCLA upset LSU, sending home Hall of Fame head coaches, Hall of Fame players. Very upset to see LSU gone. Obviously, Angel Reese is no longer there, so, the team is a little bit shaky now. But we have the Final Four set. This is going to be, honestly, this may be more exciting than the men's one this year because UCLA making their first Final Four in program history. UConn, just like the men's, has always been dominant. Paige Buchers just announcing yesterday that she's entering the WNBA draft, one of the best female college basketball players of all time. Let's not forget South Carolina and how historic their program is. And then the Texas Longhorns seemingly coming out of nowhere and making a big impact. Dad, I'm going to go to you on this one first. What do you think of this ladies' bracket so far?
I like it. And I'm going to give you my picks.
Okay, let's hear them.
Texas, South Carolina, hook 'em horns.
Horns up?
Horns up.
We're South Carolina?
Yes, I do. Yes. I'm picking it. And then UConn, UCLA, I'd be a fool if I don't take UConn. I'm taking UConn for another national title. That's my picks.
They didn't win it last year. It was Iowa.
I didn't say they won last year.
I'm just saying. I was Iowa last year because Caitlin Clark. Lucas, any thoughts, opinions on the women's one? UConn, UCLA, who do you got winning? I know you don't keep up with basketball.
Say Southfield girls.
Shut up.
We'll go with UConn.
Okay, UConn, South Carolina, Texas.
South Carolina.
And then winner out of the 2.
South Carolina.
Okay. Lucas, I actually fully agree with you with your picks. I got UConn and South Carolina, and I have South Carolina all the way. They're the best female basketball program out there, but I'm not going to discredit Paige Buchers and the amazing squad that UConn has. Absolutely impressed with this team. I just feel like the inexperience level against South Carolina is going to really catch up to them. You talk about a team that's 30-3, dominated Tennessee Tech, dominated Indiana, dominated Maryland, upset Duke. I'm very impressed with the South Carolina team. And UConn, I'm not saying their road was easy, but when I look at opponents like Oklahoma, when I look at San Diego State, when I look at Arkansas State, I'm sorry, the level of competition doesn't really add up for me for the Huskies in this case scenario. UCLA, like I said before, first tournament appearance in program history. I feel like that's going to catch up to them. I'm not trying to say UConn had an easy path to get here, but comparing them to South Carolina, definitely a much easier team when you look at the SEC, when you look at SC who played a team in the Big Ten and a team in the SEC. And then you look over at Texas, and they had a great run as well. They beat both Illinois, Tennessee, TCU, and William & Mary. So it's not like Texas had the easiest schedule either. I'm still going to go UConn, South Carolina, Gamecockers all the way. No?
I think your brackets are terrible.
I have 3 out of the 4 in the final
Next
4.
time you're with him and you're in his car, check to see how many brackets are in the back seat or like stuffed under the seat or something.
Oh my God, you guys are ridiculous.
Because I'm telling you, this dude didn't get 3 out of 4 in both brackets.
Yes,
I'm telling you right now, not on
they're
his first
right
bracket.
here.
I believe it. Hey, I could probably have.
They were
12
posted on
brackets.
Instagram. What, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago.
Check
What?
the footage. Check the footage on the screen.
Yeah, I can go on our Instagram.
Yeah, check it out. If you don't see South Carolina on there in the girls, I call tomfoolery.
Okay, whatever. Well, Texas versus South Carolina will be played this Friday at 7 with UConn and UCLA following at 9. In terms of the men's game, Florida will be taking on Auburn on Saturday at 6:09, and Duke will be taking on at 8:49 on Saturday. Championship game for the men's will be played at 8:50. Championship games for the women's will be played Sunday at 3. Very much looking forward to this.
I'm surprised the Florida game ain't later because I think that's going to be the closer game.
The Florida game?
Yeah, I'm surprised that's not the later game.
Well,
when I seen that schedule, I was really shocked about that.
Yeah, I was too. I was surprised.
Because usually they try to put that more on of a prime time. I mean, 6 o'clock still prime time.
Yeah, no, 6:09 for Florida and Auburn. That's a game I'm most certainly going to try and make time to watch for. And then Houston and Duke. I mean, that's going to be a good game as well. No
I
doubt.
can confirm you 3 out of 4 on both as of March 18th.
There we go. It has been. It's officially official, ladies and gentlemen.
But that's still not what I said. I said he probably filled out 30 pools.
I filled out 2, and it was 1 men, 1 women.
I still have to check the card just to confirm, but...
Yep, thank you.
You can go check the car.
I will.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no problem. That's what we do here.
Okay, well, with that all being said, I think it's time we now finally move into our little NFL segment that we have for today. Lots of NFL news to talk about, and one of them is a pretty interesting signing. Russell Wilson is officially signing a 1-year deal with the New York Giants. He is now joining a quarterback room of Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito. I got to talk about this earlier on my other podcast, Steel City Commuters with Nicholas Brown. And guys, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I told him. This right here is now a telltale sign that the New York Giants do not believe in Shedeur Sanders. Because if the New York Giants were going to draft a quarterback in the first round, they would not have signed both Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency. The fact that they signed both of those guys and brought back Tommy DeVito on a contract shows me that this is the quarterback room that we're going to see entering 2025, and that they're either going to look for another quarterback next year or they're going to roll with the same squad they have this year. They're still looking to see if Russell Wilson still has what it takes in the tank. Last year in Pittsburgh, he had a really bad start, started to pick things up, and then it started to slowly dwindle away towards the end of the year because of that rough 4-game stretch he had at the end of the year with the Chiefs, Ravens, and Bengals all being in the mix. But the thing with the New York Giants that bothers me most is when you look at the current quarterback situation and you compare it to what is in the division itself. You look at Russell Wilson, who's well past his prime. Jameis Winston, who threw a 30 for 30 in Tampa Bay, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions 1 year. And a guy in Tommy DeVito who can't even stay on the field for a full game. They're going up against Jalen Hurts, who just became a Super Bowl champion, defeating the Kansas City Chiefs, winning Super Bowl MVP and showing why he's one of the most dominant quarterbacks in football. They're also going up against Jaden Daniels twice a year, who is a second-year quarterback that did something last year in his rookie year that we have never seen out of a rookie quarterback. And although we like to clown the Cowboys and Dak Prescott, he can turn it on when he needs to. So he's going against Dak twice a year, Jaden Daniels twice a year, and Jalen Hurts twice a year. Not to mention the rest of the dominant NFC. I'm sorry, I don't agree with this signing at all. I don't like the way the Giants' direction is going. And if I'm Steelers fans and I see that contract that he signed, I am sick to my stomach knowing that I could have brought him back for at least 1 more year and paired him with DK Metcalf, who had great connections in Seattle.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that we decided that we didn't need to sign him for that price. I would have liked to see how 1 more year could have worked out with him, especially now that we have DK, someone that he's very familiar with. But like you said, yeah, I think the Giants basically just stated that they don't want a quarterback out of this draft, and see how that plays out for them, because they have 3 quarterbacks that if it turns out to be a failed experiment, they now have to draft high in the next draft.
Let's face reality. They gave up. They completely gave up. You got a 38-year-old quarterback. You got a quarterback in Jameis Winston who throws more interceptions than touchdowns.
Actually, he throws the same, but yeah.
A guy that can't stay on the field. And you had a potential franchise quarterback coming out of the draft. You gave up. It ain't like you went out and got a quarterback that's going to take you to the Super Bowl and you needed him for a couple years. He was the missing piece that you needed. They've given up. If I'm the Giants fans, I would be selling tickets right now. I'd be on StubHub or Ticket Seat Geek or whatever they are, and I'd be selling my tickets because they sold the farm. Nothing against Russell Wilson. I was hoping he'd be a Steeler again. I'm not a Steeler fan, but I like Russell Wilson. And the Steelers, I'm going to say it, they shit the bed on that one. They definitely did. They let him, they could have signed him and kept him here until they figured out their quarterback situation, because they lost Justin Fields, which drove me crazy, because now they're saying, well, we need a younger quarterback. Well, you had a younger quarterback, 2 or 3 year guy. I didn't think he was a franchise quarterback, but Lucas, me and you argued about that. he was a better fit NFL quarterback now than what you would get out of that draft. And my opinion is he played very well for the Steelers. Got him 4 or 5 victories, maybe 6 victories.
4.
Why would you not keep him in the system? I knew, me and Austin talked about this. We knew they weren't going to be able to sign them both. I would have probably kept Fields or kept Russell Wilson. Kept one of them. You left both of them. And then I love it when they said it. I think it was Rick Welsh or one of them, maybe Stephen A. I don't know who it was. They said, we got Mason Rudolph. No, it was Tomlin. They interviewed Tomlin. He said,
I was about to get to that.
I'm very capable. He's very capable of being our open day starter. Then why'd you let him go? If he was very capable, why'd you let him go? You're trying to cover the fact that you guys butchered this whole quarterback thing from the start. It's been butchered from the start. You had 2 quarterbacks on a 1-year deal. You got rid of Mason Rudolph, the only guy that knew your system. You had Skylar Thompson, who was not even a really good quarterback at all. I can't believe he's in the NFL. But anyways, then you lost 2 quarterbacks. Then you bring back a quarterback you couldn't sign. You've butchered this whole thing up. Just come out and say, hey, guess what? Man, my fault. We screwed up. We screwed up bad.
I feel like this is a good transition into the Steelers quarterback. Did you have something to add on? Or? Oh, no, you were just stretching. I feel like this is a good transition to actually talk about the Steelers quarterback situation right now because, Dad, like you just mentioned, Justin Fields is now a New York Jet. Russell Wilson is a New York Giant. Mason Rudolph is back in the black and gold, and Skylar Thompson is now a part of this team as well. Aaron Rodgers, he still hasn't made a decision. This is something we talked about at the top of this episode. Is he going to finally sign with the Steelers? Is this just days pending now? Is this going to happen tomorrow? Is this going to happen next week? I have a feeling that on the Pat McAfee show in Pittsburgh, Aaron Rodgers is probably going to go on there and officially sign his contract because he has been seen in Pittsburgh over the last 2 weeks. We've seen videos surfacing on the internet of him throwing with DK Metcalf and having private practices and private workouts. So it seems like it's a done deal. We're just waiting for an official news to be breaking to the public. But as of right now, when you look at the Steelers quarterback situation, they gave up. If the Steelers wanted a bridge quarterback and someone young and somewhat inexperienced, not only did they have a chance to bring back Justin Fields, Dad, they had a chance to bring in a bunch of other unproven guys out there on a cheap 1-year deal. Are we going to forget Mac Jones signed somewhere? What about Zach Wilson? What about Daniel Jones? These are quarterbacks they could have brought in if they absolutely wanted to. But they decided to bring back a guy in Mason Rudolph. Who Mike Tomlin, which by the way, I'm going to call Mike Tomlin out. He's a liar. Mike Tomlin absolutely lied to our faces because if you believe in Mason Rudolph as much as you say you do, why would you let him go in the first place? Why would you let him walk? Why would you let him go to Tennessee and play with Will Levis, Mr. Mayo? I don't believe Mike Tomlin at all whenever he says Mason Rudolph is the guy we believed in. Because if you believed in him so badly and you thought he was going to be your next big Ben Roethlisberger, the reason why you drafted him, had to sit behind him for 2 years, you would have never gotten rid of him. You would have gotten a deal done with him. But you didn't. And they have no depth right now. They have no veteran presence in the locker room right now. Mason Rudolph is their veteran presence. That's an alarm. When you're in the same division as Joe Burrow, Myles Garrett, and Lamar Jackson, that worries me for Steelers fans. Knowing Tomlin, he'll still find a way to string together a winning season. He'll still find a way to get 9 or 10 wins. But at the end of the day, when you have a quarterback room of Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, and you pass up on all these other options out there in free agency, and I'm not saying any of those guys I just named are starting quarterbacks either, because I saw the faces that you guys made. All I'm saying is there was options out there. You want to know what they have left now? A 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers, who causes nothing but drama. Kirk Cousins, who has the worst contract in NFL history, and Joe Flacco. That's it. That's the only options the Steelers have left, except for who they have right now.
Yeah, you said we had a lot of options and then named 3 of the worst quarterbacks that we could have picked up.
I fully disagree. Those are 3 of the best
Mac
backups
Jones
that you could have
is
had.
terrible. Daniel Jones
as
is terrible.
starting
and Zach
quarterbacks.
Wilson
Okay,
is
well, you
terrible.
clearly didn't listen because I said as backups,
Backups
not
to
as
who?
starters. Backups to Mason Rudolph, apparently, because Mike Tomlin believes in him
Well,
so
then
much.
why bring him in then if we're just going to get Mason Rudolph starting anyways?
That's the point that I'm making, Lucas. You're proving my point.
Hey, have you guys ever seen The Waterboy?
Yes,
I've
Bobby
been thinking
Boucher.
of this since they signed Mason Rudolph. No shot at him, but did you ever see the quarterback from The Waterboy? Mason Rudolph and him, they could be like brothers. And let me tell you about the quarterback in there. He's not real good either. Neither's Mason Rudolph. I'm sorry, but listen, all jokes aside, I'm not a Steeler fan, but I'm ready to make a statement on this podcast. If Aaron Rodgers signs with the Steelers, they will battle for that North title. Mark my words. Mark my words. They will battle for that AFC North title. That is my words to you
Hey, he's
guys.
got pretty good jokes over here.
No, I'm not. I'm being dead serious. I think he would be the right mixture for that offense if they let him throw the ball. If because he'll have George Pickens, he'll have Freiermuth, and he'll have DK Metcalf. He will put up points. Aaron Rodgers threw for like 28 or 30 touchdowns last year. Don't forget that. He had a decent season. Yes, the problem was there was a lot of problems in the Jets organization. It was not just Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
they fired their coach at the beginning of the season, never really replaced him. They just had a fill-in, and the line stunk. I mean, if the Steelers, I'm telling you, mark my word, they will compete for that AFC North title. And you guys can laugh at me all you want. The Ravens aren't that good anyways. The only team I would worry about is the Bengals. The Browns, they're going to stink. They're probably going to have 5 wins tops. The Bengals are probably... It's going to be the Bengals and the Steelers if they sign Aaron Rodgers. I think the Ravens ain't even in... They'll be number 3 in that division this year if Aaron Rodgers is healthy and plays.
Okay, one of 3 things. Number 1, let's not forget the Pittsburgh Steelers also lost 6 of their starting defensive players. They've made little to no changes
I said what I said.
on their defensive front, and they have a guy in TJ Watt, who in my opinion is the most overrated player in football right now, coming into the season on a 63 consecutive snaps with 0 stats made and hasn't made a tackle since last Christmas against your Kansas City Chiefs. That's number 1. Number 2, let's not forget that Zach
He
Wilson.
played that game?
Yeah.
I
Zach
remember seeing him
Wilson.
on the field.
Zach Wilson statistically was a better New York Jets quarterback in his last year than Aaron Rodgers was in his. So are we really going to say Aaron Rodgers still has it left in the tank when Zach Wilson outplayed him with these same weapons? I don't know about that one. And number 3, you're right. He does have George Pickens and he does have DK Metcalf. But what happens when those two start crying that they're not getting enough targets? What happens when they start throwing temper tantrums? Are we going to forget that those are... We've seen DK do that in Seattle. We saw Pickens do that over the last couple of years with the Steelers. One of the main reasons why Deontay Johnson departed. I'm just saying, there's a lot of questionable things within this offense. And if we're really going to talk about Mike Tomlin, what does Mike Tomlin proclaim every single year and has proclaimed every single year before he started the season? That is that the Steelers' motto is run the ball, stop the run. My question to you is, Dad, who the hell is running the ball and who the hell is stopping the ball? Stopping the run. A 37-year-old in Cameron Hayward? A guy in TJ Watt who can't even stay on the field for an entire game? I'm sorry. Not happening. They're not competing with the Bengals. They're not competing with the Ravens. Not happening. Not with that Ravens line, and not with Joe Burrow.
So what
Who
do you
said
think?
the Bengals are going to be up there to compete?
He said.
You don't think the Bengals are? Do you remember watching them last year?
He just said the Bengals are in the Steelers.
Did you watch the Bengals last year?
Yeah, I did.
Because
What are they going to do if they lose
bearing
Hutchinson?
losing one more game, they're probably in the AFC Championship, bud. If they made the playoffs, they're probably making it. They probably would have beat the Chiefs last year.
How are they
Joe
paying their
Burrow was
defense?
balling last year. They would have just outscored you. The Bengals were good last year. Listen,
We
they
outscored
had
them.
they had their troubles, and their troubles were their defense. That's where their troubles were. So let me ask you this: let's pick. Let's do a hypothetical. Let's do a mock. Somebody write it down. Lucas, you got a pen and paper. Write down your. Let's go with who you pick first. Finish in the top 4 in their division, AFC North, because it's a Pittsburgh podcast. Let's do the AFC North real quick. Just as a mock.
We're going to be doing this again later on after
I know.
the draft, but yeah.
Opinions
Opinions probably will change, just to let everyone know.
Okay, so Lucas, who do you have finishing first in the division? We're going to all agree that Cleveland's going to finish 4th, all right?
I don't know, actually.
Oh, my gosh.
Might be
Kenny Pickett, we're going to go, baby.
Go ahead,
Get
Lucas.
out of here.
I'm going to put the Ravens at number 1.
Yinzer. Wait, that offends people. I apologize.
I'll put the Steelers at number 2. Put the Bengals at 3.
So why you...
And the Browns at 4.
Wait, time out. Go ahead, put your Browns down. Why did you laugh at me then when I said if they sign Aaron Rodgers, they're... And they don't even have Aaron Rodgers before this list is
I don't
made.
think we're getting more than 10 wins with Aaron Rodgers.
Are you going with this saying that Aaron Rodgers is your starting quarterback game 1?
All right, we'll say that, and I still think we're getting 10 wins at max.
He got him at 2. Where did you have him if they don't sign Aaron Rodgers?
Probably still at 2. Probably with
No
9
way.
or 10.
Well, with Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
You better quit smoking weed.
All right, well, here's mine. It's pretty simple. Ravens 1, Bengals 2, Steelers 3, Browns 4. The Baltimore Ravens has the best quarterback in football right now in Lamar Jackson. That's number 1. Number 2 is the Cincinnati Bengals, like you just mentioned that. I fully agree with everything that you said about the Bengals. Joe Burrow had a historic season last year. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is the best wide receiver to do in football. Not to mention their line has increasingly gotten better. The pass protection is going to be there for Joe Burrow. And Lucas, you were right. The defense was pitiful last year. But
It's going to get worse.
But I fully disagree. They signed 2 safeties and they signed a linebacker.
Yeah.
Hendrickson's going to go.
Even if Hendrickson goes, they're going to get draft capital from him. So one way or the
They'll
other.
get an edge rusher. I agree.
The Bengals are going to be fine next year. They're going to be much better. They're not going to be great, but they're going to be much better.
Here, you ready?
They're going to be better than T.J. Watt and the Steelers defense. And then, hold on. Good.
Good.
Oh, all I was going to say was Steelers are 3 because they're going to find a way to get a winning record.
I got your 4.
I didn't explain it, damn it. Number 3 is the Steelers because you're right, Lucas. They're going to find a way to get a winning season, but they're not better than the other 2. And the Browns stink. The Browns are 4.
Okay, well, you wanted to argue when I said everybody agrees Browns are 4, and you said, well, not necessarily.
Well, no, because I'll be honest with you. If the Browns get Abdul Carter in the draft, I might put them above Pittsburgh. I might actually put them above Pittsburgh.
You know what? Somebody gave $1 million. I'd be a millionaire, too. Bengals 1.
And if the Browns can get Nick Chubb back, too,
Bengals 1. This
yeah.
is my list. Bengals 1. Steelers 2. Ravens 3.
No. God,
Browns
no.
4.
You can't put the Ravens at 3.
I just did.
They have the best quarterback in football.
Yeah, what's he doing in the playoffs?
Doesn't
Doesn't show up.
Okay, this isn't a playoff bracket. This is a regular season bracket. And Lamar Jackson has been the best regular season quarterback for the last 3 years.
What's that got him?
Yes, Josh Allen won MVP, but he still had better
What's
stats.
that got him, Lucas? Tell me what that's got him.
Huh?
Couple MVPs, huh?
It's got him 3 straight AFC North titles.
Okay, well, guess what? This is the year the Bengals take it back over.
Listen, I like the Bengals a lot. I really do. I'm a big fan of what Cincinnati's put together. I love Zach
I think
Taylor.
they're going to smack around the the Ravens.
Here's how I'm going to end this argument. Who's running the football for the Bengals? Did we forget that Derrick Henry plays for the Ravens? Did we forget that Derrick Henry plays for the Ravens? I'm just saying. Just wanted to ask.
I just want to ask one question.
Go ahead, you can
Did
ask
we
one.
forget that John Harbaugh doesn't run Derrick Henry like he should? Do we need to go back and check them stats? Because he seems to like to run Lamar Jackson last time me and you talked.
Okay, do we need
and you agreed with me.
Okay, you know
But
what?
now you're disagreeing.
I am disagreeing because
So all of a sudden, John Harbaugh had this offseason where he's like, oh, shit. You know what? I got Derrick Henry in the backfield.
First of all, watch
Lamar.
it. No, time out. First of all, watch it because we're trying to monetize these episodes.
Okay,
You
I
gotta turn
apologize.
it down a little bit. We're trying to get sponsors here. And number two, more importantly, are we going to forget that the last 2 games that the Ravens and Bengals played against each other, the Ravens won? The Ravens beat the Bengals twice last year. So what are you talking about? Stop with that nonsense.
Without a line. Without a line.
Oh, they had a line
Without
all
a
right,
line.
and they dominated that line. Go ahead, Lucas.
Listen, at the end of the day, John Harbaugh did all of a sudden not get an epiphany that, hey, I got Derrick Henry in the backfield. I'm going to run him 30 times a game. He didn't have that epiphany, so guess what? He is not going to run Derrick Henry. He's going to sit there for another $20 million or whatever they signed him for. He's going to have a couple good games over 200, and then Harbaugh's going to let Lamar Jackson run.
That's blasphemous.
Bengals win the North. Let's go.
No, absolutely not. So at least me and you both agree on the Ravens. Your Yinzer's coming out of you by having the Steelers at number 2. That's just blasphemous. And then who do you have at number 2? You have the
Steelers.
You have the Steelers too? Oh,
If they sign Aaron Rodgers, yes. If Aaron Rodgers don't sign, I'm redoing my list. That's based on Aaron Rodgers.
Let me ask you a question.
Down here, based
who was
on
a better
Aaron
New
Rodgers.
York Jets quarterback, Aaron Rodgers or Zach Wilson?
That is such a hard question. to
No, it's
say.
not. It's Zach Wilson. More touchdowns, more yards, more wins. Zach Wilson, the guy who's now a backup in Miami, was a 3rd stringer last year in Denver, had better stats than a former back-to-back MVP,
So
a
you
Super Bowl
think-
champion, a Super Bowl MVP, and my favorite quarterback at one point in time.
So you don't think that Aaron Rodgers makes the Steelers a better team?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You're crazy.
Maybe a win better.
You don't agree with that statement. I can see it in your face. You believe that it makes them a better team, correct?
Yeah.
Listen,
Barely.
this ain't Russell Wilson. He still can throw the ball.
He can't.
Russell Wilson looked 5 to 10 years older than Aaron Rodgers did last year. Remember, Aaron Rodgers got hurt last year, too.
No, he did not. He got hurt 2 years ago.
Okay, 2 years ago. He's coming off an injury in his late 30s. He's in a team that had no stability at all. Your head coach gets fired. Your leader, he's your general. That's like the general of your army getting shot.
Are we really going to sit up here with a straight face and pretend like Aaron Rodgers wasn't the reason why Robert Saleh got fired? Are we really going to sit up here and pretend like he's not the one that was negotiating those meetings to get Saleh out of town because they had
What did-
disagreements
okay,
within
I
the
agree with
organization.
that. I agree. He
So
probably
why are we
put the
gonna
nail
say-
in the coffin.
So if you're sitting up here defending Aaron Rodgers, saying
I'm
the
not.
reason why he lost was because Saleh got fired, he is the reason why Saleh got fired.
Listen, I
Not
personally
to
don't
mention,
even like
time
Aaron
out.
Rodgers.
The first year there, this is his system. Aaron Rodgers, if he joins the Pittsburgh Steelers, this will be the first time in his career that he's joining a new system. Because in Green Bay, he had an entire system with Mike McCarthy to Matt LaFleur. That all translated bringing in Nathaniel Hackett, who was his former offensive coordinator. If he joins Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, this is a completely different offense that he has to adapt to, which is the first time he has ever had to do this in his career. So sitting up here with a straight face and saying he's going to make them increasingly and significantly better? Absolutely not. He couldn't even do that with the Jets. Zach Wilson, who's a bust in my eyes, did much better than Aaron Rodgers, and that's sad.
How many wins do you think they'll get with Aaron Rodgers?
I think they will at least get 9 or 10. I do agree with Lucas.
Well, then that's...
I'll give them 10. I
then
will say
that's
10.
better than last year, correct?
I never said that they're going to not do better.
We had 10 last year.
You had 10
Okay,
last
so
year.
if they get 10 or more...
Not 10 or more, no.
Hang
10.
on. I'm saying if they get 10 or more, that makes them better than the previous year.
No, it
Am I
makes them
correct?
the exact same because the Pittsburgh
No, they would have to
Steelers...
get
Time out, you
more
talk.
than 10.
Time out, you talk.
More than 10. More than 10 makes them a better team than last
More
year.
than 10, correct. But stagger 10, no. The Pittsburgh Steelers, and I said this on Steel City, so you can go back and listen. I have the receipts out there. The Pittsburgh Steelers...
Yeah, I don't like how Nick didn't throw a shout out to me, by the way, Nick. What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, that's on Nick Brown. He's been
Yeah.
texting you like crazy. You and him played Fortnite and Rocket League, but that's besides the point. That's a different story for a different day.
Yeah.
Look, here's the deal with the Steelers. What I said on Steel City is what I'm going to say here right now on Two Jagoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers, until they get rid of Mike Tomlin, it's going to be the same results. I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers behind center. I don't care if it's Justin Fields behind center. Hands down, it's not your turn. I don't care if it's Russell Wilson behind center. I don't care if it's Big Ben Roethlisberger or Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. I don't care who is behind center. Until Mike Tomlin is out of Pittsburgh, it's going to be the same result. Barely get a winning season, same 5 plays on offense, first round exits. Go ahead. You're being very rude over there. I did not do this when it was your turn. But go ahead.
The one thing you're forgetting. You brought up a great point. I have to get this out. What is Mike Tomlin known for? We're not Steeler fans. He's a Steeler fan. What is he known for losing?
What do you mean?
He has no control over his players. Correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're
Hear me
right.
out.
No,
Hear me
you're
out.
right. I'm hearing you.
So he has no control over his players.
Mhm.
You bring up the fact that Aaron Rodgers is coming into a new system.
Yes.
What do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to do? He's going to take over when he comes to Pittsburgh. He's going to run that freaking offense the way he wants to run it.
Do you really believe Mike Tomlin's going to let that happen?
I believe he has no control over his players. Dating back to when Brown did the things that he did.
I mean, that's even farther back. Go back to
I
Martinez.
believe he's never had control of the locker room as a head coach. I think he wants to be their buddies, and he has no control as a coach. I compare him to like an Andy Reid or a Belichick when he was in New England. They didn't put up with that crap. You had your problem childs who went to those organizations, and they changed their ways. Am I right or wrong? You had Randy Moss. Randy Moss was known in Minnesota. He was against the grain. He was against grain. He went to New England. He followed script, and he was a good football player again.
Okay.
That's where I'm going with that. I don't think Tomlin has control. So you brought up a good point. It made me think. That's why I wasn't trying to be rude.
Okay, we're
but I had to get that
banging Steely McGee's face on the table.
But I had to get that point out there. I believe if Aaron Rodgers comes in here, now that I think of it, he's probably taking over the offense. Don't matter what they say. You think Arthur Smith's going to tell Aaron Rodgers what to do?
Okay, so here's the best part about that. You are actually making my point so much better by saying that. If Aaron Rodgers comes in here and takes over the system, it's going to be the exact same thing as the New York Jets. Head coach is going to get run out of town. He's going to bring someone in his wheelhouse. And guess what? I'm not a Steelers fan, so I could care less either way. But I'm just saying, if Aaron Rodgers does exactly what you're saying, you're making my point even better. So I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much for being so kind. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dad,
Don't take that as a win. No, don't take that as a win.
I very much will, because you just proved my point for you.
No.
Yes, you did.
No.
Yes,
He'll
you
get
did.
Arthur Smith fired. Tomlin ain't going nowhere. If they didn't fire Tomlin after the last 2 seasons of the collapses he's had, he's never getting fired. Let's face reality.
I mean, I'm not going to.
He lost 5 or 6 games in a row last year. God awful coaching. He got outplayed the last 5 or 6 games. He's not being fired from Pittsburgh. Let's face reality.
Yeah, he's not.
Every coach in Pittsburgh right now in any organization will be fired before Mike Tomlin.
I can agree with that.
So let's end it on this. This is our list here of who wins the AFC North, bearing Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers. And if he's, listen, and I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, first off. I think he's a clown. Personally, I think he's a clown. Walking the beaches with this not believing in drugs and science and all the stuff that he did during COVID. I think he's a clown for all that. Personally, I think he's a clown. He goes on McAfee. He boosts his program. I think he's a clown for all that stuff that he does. But I'm not going to take away his ability. He still can throw that ball.
And that's where only time will tell. Lucas, do you have any final words on this segment before we move to our next?
I still can't believe you put the Ravens at 3.
Yeah, that is kind of bad on your end. Then come on. Now.
I can't believe you're wearing a pirate hat and you're hating on them.
I mean, it's easy to hate on the Pirates.
And you didn't even give a shout out to your girls at South Ed either. I mean, what's wrong with you?
You should see the things he says about Pirates.
What do you mean? I'm honest. I was on the same page as you earlier. What do you mean? What did I say bad about the Pirates?
You say you get on them more than I do.
Well, yeah, you're damn right I do. I have to watch them every week. So there's no final words on this for either one of you? Cool, let's move into our next segment. We have a little bit of college football to talk about. A signing that happened for a certain head coach for a certain program. I'm talking about Prime Time himself, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, has officially breached a contract of 5 years, $54 million with the Colorado Buffaloes. I guess this means...
Good for him.
I wasn't finished talking yet.
Well earned.
I guess this means that Deion Sanders is not going to the NFL anytime soon. Dad, back to your barrages of clapping. Is there anything else you would like to add on?
Good for him. Well earned. He made an irrelevant program into a relevant program. Congrats to Deion. I mean, hey, he probably could have got 60. I wouldn't have been mad at that either. Look at the talent he's bringing into the NFL.
He changed the culture over there. Good for him. He deserves it.
I agree. My only concern is I want to see how Colorado plays post Travis Hunter and post Shedeur Sanders. That's my only concern. But even outside of that, I'm not just going to say those were the only two players they had. They had McKinney. They had a great run game. They had a great defense. So Colorado has great players. A lot of them transferred over from Jackson State, which I thought was absolutely cool to see. But Deion Sanders, best corner of all time, one of the best players of all time, one of the best athletes of all time, while you're making a mess over here. He played both baseball and football at the same time. So I have nothing but nice things to say about Deion Sanders. He's always one of my favorite players. I mean, you got to watch the NFL of Football Life documentary on him, and I gained so much more respect from him just watching that. So never going to knock Deion. Never going to knock his son Shedeur or Shiloh or any of the family. Sanders are great. Very much deserved contract.
Do you remember last time Colorado was relevant besides him?
I forgot they were programming until we joined them.
I'm going to throw a name out there. I believe it was Cordell Stewart was their quarterback.
Wow, that's the name I haven't heard in a minute.
I believe he was their quarterback back then. I believe he went to Colorado. And he hasn't played for 15, 20 years. So, I mean, think about that for a second. Like, They were like nobody. Like, Pitt was more relevant than them. I mean, seriously, I'm being honest. Like, so for him to turn around a program and have all them kids transfer, they're buying into what he's selling, man. So guess what? He should get the product. The product is the money.
I agree.
No, I mean, he's putting on a good product every Saturday and you know what I mean? Them kids bought into it, so.
I agree. No, I 100% agree with you on that, Dad. Lucas, any final words for Deion before we move into our final segment of the show?
I don't watch much college football, but I know he's a great coach, so good job.
Indeed he is. Now, I don't know if you guys got to see this or not, but this is something I want to end off with today. It is about the NBA. It was breaking news all over ESPN a couple days ago. There was a major fight that happened in the NBA where several players got ejected, several players got suspended. I'll give you guys a chance to look at it if you want to. But, Cordell Stewart, born in, what is this? Quarterback?
He was at Colorado.
Okay.
Before you went in,
No, you're good. You were just fact-checking. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So there was a big NBA fight that happened. It was during the game between the Detroit Pistons and the Minnesota Timberwolves. In that game, 5 players and 2 coaches were ejected after a brawl took place. The players that were ejected for Minnesota was assistant head coach Pablo Bergroni, forward Naz Reid, and guard Dante DiVincenzo. For the Detroit Pistons side of things, it was head coach J.B. Bickerstaff, center Isaiah Stewart, who's had a rich history of fights and brawls in the past, forward Ron Holland, and guard Marcus Sasser. The suspensions goes as followed. Isaiah Stewart is serving a 2-game, while Holland, Sasser, DiVincenzo, and Reed are all serving 1 game. Both head coaches were immediately reinstated after the brawl took place. Look, I'm going to sit up here and say this. First and foremost, Isaiah Stewart is known for being an absolute menace on the court. We talk about the Draymond Greens of the world with the amount of technical fouls and the amount of ejections he gets. We talk about the Patrick Beverleys of the world and his technicals and his ejections. But why do we not talk enough about Isaiah Stewart? You talk about a guy who was ready to swing on LeBron James last year. You talk about a guy who almost went into the fans and almost went into the audience and pulled a Ron Artest. And you're talking about a guy who was swinging like crazy on both Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid. This was an absolute crazy scene to see. I'm not surprised by it at all just because of the tensions that were within this game and within the matchup they had earlier this year. This was already a heated rivalry going into this game. Both Minnesota and Detroit play in the same division. Minnesota's looking to get back to the playoffs, but of course they're probably not going to get there with the departure of Karl-Anthony Towns earlier this year. And the Pistons, I mean, they've been god-awful for God knows how long. I'm not surprised by this fight at all, but I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Isaiah Stewart, man, I mean, if you get in one more fight, you can probably call it quits for your NBA career. Anybody, either one of you guys get to see that fight?
I didn't see it, but I mean, fights like that just shouldn't be happening.
I saw it.
Okay.
I mean, did you ever see the Ron Artest fight?
The Ron Artest one is the one with the one pistol.
Listen, let me throw this back. Let me rewind it.
I just want to talk.
As fans, no, you were asking me.
No, oh yeah, okay, go ahead. You're good.
I was talking to Lucas, not you. So Ron Artest. So let's go back. As fans, we go to games, we boo, we say crap, we talk crap to all these players, right? Bill Burr did a skit one time, and Austin knows where I'm going.
Oh,
with
I know where you're going with this. Just watch what you say, please.
I am. He said, we go to the games and he's talking about how they yell, and he's saying, why don't you come up here and say that? Well, guess what? Ron Artest went up there and he beat that fan's butt. That's what Ron. You got to go watch that fight with Ron Artest. It was actually crazy because they never thought that Ron Artest was coming into the stands. Yeah, it shouldn't probably happen in sports, but guess what? It gets heated. I mean, we don't know what happened. There could have been spit flying. As a man, somebody spits on me, I'm swinging too. I don't know. I mean, that could have happened. You know, tempers flare. I mean, it shouldn't happen, but it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of sports, is the passion, the wanting to win, the competitiveness. That all plays into a factor. And you get bumped, and I don't know, it's just, it can happen. I don't know. It shouldn't happen, but I'm okay sometimes when it does happen, so I don't know. I don't want to hate
It is sports at the end of the day. Tensions certainly do get high.
I mean, I don't want two-hand touch basketball and football either. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I want some physicalness, so...
Well, that right there is all the topics that we have prepared for today's episode. Gentlemen, do we have any final words at all for our audience or anything else we wanted to touch up on before we end today's episode?
All I'll say is if you've been on TikTok recently for us, sorry about that social media post. We couldn't post the skit. Got muted.
Oh, yeah. Social media, TikTok went after us.
Facebook went after us too, but
Trump went after you guys in TikTok. Wow.
Okay.
Facebook tried to do it too, but they failed, so.
Yeah, Facebook failed. We got past the Facebook barrier, but not TikToks. Dad, you better have been on in a minute. Do you have any final words for our audience?
I just ate at a great restaurant in Pittsburgh I've never been to. I'm 53 years old, and we took my daughter for her 16th birthday to Altius up on Mount. Phenomenal food, phenomenal atmosphere. A little pricey, but it was great. I mean, I recommend it to you guys. You know, it's a good time, but be prepared. You're going to be spending some money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I saw the menu there. It's expensive. I mean,
But I did get a 14-ounce ribeye steak. Not like you should be able to mess up a steak, but the steak was phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Phenomenal. You over there? You Googling Altius right now? You should see the view. It's phenomenal.
It is. It looks over the city skyline and everything.
We had a nice day. It was 70 degrees.
Wow. I wasn't there, so I don't remember.
And I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready for Pitt football, by the way. Schedule just come out. I'm getting ready for Pitt football.
Yeah, they tricked us. I thought they were bringing back the old logo, but it's okay.
I've never been to the Blue Gold game. I was thinking about going this year, but I'll be at camp, so I'm not going. Sorry, Pitt.
Sorry, Pitt. Not happening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up today's episode of Two Jagoffs. Stay tuned for this Sunday. We got a very special interview with a brand new, very special guest. We're just adding more and more. I'm proud to say we're booked to almost June now with interviews. So thank you all so much for the continued support. Without you guys, we would not be able to make these episodes possible.
Yeah, you made me sit on that phone call.
Yes, I did.
2 hours.
Yes, I did. Don't forget to go
Quit interrupting them.
Yes, but both of you shut up. Don't forget to go subscribe.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Knock it off over there, damn it.
We are so sorry. We want to apologize to the listeners in Austin for interrupting him, but sometimes he goes on and on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please go follow our TikTok, our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages.
Won't happen.
We're also on what?
Won't happen again.
Yeah, it won't happen again. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and of course Podchaser. Wherever you get your podcasts, it will all be provided in the link tree above. Also, start leaving some questions for Ask Austin anything. We're looking.
When's the next one?
Beginning of May, hopefully, as long as we
Beginning
get some
of May.
questions. Beginning of May is when Ask Austin
I'll
anything.
put a good one on there.
You guys both are ridiculous. There's 2 tables here, one for you and one for you. If you don't stop.
We'll put you through both of them. He gets to put you through one. I get to put you through one.
Great, thanks, guys.
Welcome.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Two Jagoffs. Until next time, we will see you all on the next one.
Peace.